All right, today we are going to list some rules related to trapezoids. Stop asking so many questions, please. Trapezoids. Okay, trapezoid, it's got two parallel sides, and the two parallel sides are called the bases. So in this case, if this top is parallel to the bottom, then the top is considered a base and the bottom is considered a base. And the other two sides are called legs. Now, if the vertical sides are parallel, then those are the bases. All right. Base angles. So let's label this trapezoid A, B, C, D. Base angles are formed by a base and a leg. How do you talk so much? Then write smaller. All right, if a trapezoid is isosceles, somebody turn their music off. Somebody's music over here is playing so loud that I can hear it. So there's no way in the world they're going to ever understand these notes. And then it's the same speech from yesterday is, oh, I went to do my homework. I did not do any of it. So I need isosceles. I can't get an eraser here. All right, if a trapezoid is isosceles, I-S-O-S-C-E-N. Then each pair of base angles is congruent. All right, so an isosceles trapezoid would look like this. All right, if this top is parallel to the bottom, then it's a trapezoid. Now, if it's an isosceles trapezoid, then these two legs are congruent to each other. And then this angle down here on the bottom left is congruent to the angle on the bottom right. And the angle top left is congruent to the angle top right. That's an isosceles trapezoid. See right in here, this should, the word is needs to go right in here. If a trapezoid is isosceles, then each pair of base angles are congruent. Put a comma right there too after congruent and say and diagonals are congruent. All right, remember diagonals, they connect non-consecutive vertices. So if we label this again, A, B, C, D, if we draw a segment from A to C and from B to D, then if this thing is an isosceles trapezoid, then AC can be congruent to BD. That doesn't mean that they're congruent in every trapezoid. It means they're congruent when the trapezoid is isosceles. When the trapezoid has these other characteristics. Congruent base angles. That's an isosceles trapezoid. Congruent diagonals. That would be an isosceles trapezoid. Congruent legs. Isosceles trapezoid. All right. All those characteristics are characteristics of an isosceles trapezoid, not all trapezoids. Got that? Very good. Mid-segment of a trapezoid. The mid-segment of a trapezoid connects the midpoints of the legs It is parallel to each base and its length is the average of the two bases. Now, that's for any trapezoid. So if you draw a trapezoid, I'm going to label this one MN OP. Now, this mid-segment, all right, if you put a midpoint on this, let's say, okay, N to O is parallel to MP. So those are the bases. So if you find the midpoint of MN, which is right about here, call it Q. And then if you find the midpoint of OP, which is right about here, call it R. And you connect those two midpoints. This is called a mid-segment. Now, since this mid-segment connected midpoints, then M to Q is going to be congruent to Q to N. O to R is congruent to RP. And now if MP, let's say that MP is 20 and N to O is 12. The mid-segment, the length of this mid-segment is going to be the average of 12 and 20. What's the average of 12 and 20? 16. You take the 12 plus the 20 divided by 2, right? 32 divided by 2 is 16. All right, so those are your rules related to the mid-segment. It connects the midpoints of the legs. It is parallel to each base, and its length is the average of the two bases. All right, so if N to Q is 4, Q to M would be 4 as well. And this whole leg would be equal to 8. Same with on the other side. If O to R is 5, what's the length of the whole side? 10. Clear? All right, so you're going to use those rules today and try to apply them to some practice problems related to trapezoids. All right, so here's some practice problems for you to do. Uh-oh. Page 444. Eight and 9. And then over on the next page, 16 through 21. 444, 8 and 9, and then over on the next page, 16 through 21.